I don't have a mute on my phone. I'm gonna just hope that works. I should unplug it. God damn.
Hello and welcome to Catch a Lift Coach's Corner. I'm KL lead coach Melissa Luke, and I'm excited to welcome U.S. Marine veteran Ed Feinstein to today's show. Ed is a U.S. Marine veteran and an avid KL supporter who owns Gladiator Barbell Club in Owings Mill, Maryland. Welcome to this week's episode of Coach's Corner. Ed, welcome. Thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're so excited to talk to you today. Why don't we start the show off with you telling us a little background about yourself and your time in the Marines?
Okay. Went in the Marines pretty much right out of high school. I was one of those 18-year-olds who thought he knew it all. And college wasn't for me at the time. And there's not a whole lot of places for know-it-all 18-year-olds other than maybe a couple places like Paris Island. So that's where I went and spent 4 years. Had a good old time. Never was deployed, but I met a lot of great people, a lot of great experiences. Wouldn't change it for the world. And nothing spectacular as far as my service goes, other than serving honorably.
Absolutely. That is everything. Thank you for your service to our great country.
Sure. Thank you for your support.
Absolutely. So once you got out of the Marines, Ed, kind of where did you turn then?
Well, my plan was to go to college and make use of a GI Bill. Ended up falling into a summer job, which was supposed to be temporary in the lighting industry. And I was supposed to be working in a warehouse. Got friendly with the owner. After so many conversations, he told me I'd be a natural salesman and I should go into sales. So after some hemming and hawing on his end, I finally conceded and gave it a run and did pretty well at it, to the point where it didn't make any sense to go to college because I was doing too well. Hopped around for a couple different companies at the time, whoever was willing to pay the most, and had a lot of different ideas, marketing strategies, just the way to run the business. And I was told on multiple occasions, Ed, if you know so much, why don't you go in business for yourself? And, if you hear something enough times, you tend to believe it. So
I like it. Yeah.
So I went ahead and rolled the dice, liquidated everything that I had at the time, beg, borrow, steal, whatever I could as far as drumming up capital. And I started my own business in the lighting industry and had a successful 25-year run with that.
That's outstanding.
Thank
Very
you.
cool. Ed, what type of life skills, did you bring out of the Marines, and how has that helped you day to day as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, those skills that you learned in the Marines?
The biggest is discipline. Nothing else compares to that. And that is the hallmark of a U.S. Marine is discipline. Words like honor, courage, and commitment. I mean, that's how we carry ourselves.
Right.
But as far as just being able to overcome obstacles, having the confidence to put yourself out there and persevering. That's what they beat into our heads, and it doesn't go away. It really does.
Yeah. So what was the driving force? You opened Gladiator Barbell Club in 2018. What kind of drove you to do that?
Well, I started competing in strongman later in life. I've been an avid weightlifter, powerlifting. I got into strongman back around 2017, and we were driving, me and my training partner and another friend, we were driving anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour just to get to the closest gym that had strongman. And it became a real pain in the butt doing so. And we got to talking, saying, if there was only a place closer. And so you can hope, wish, and pray for one to arise, or you can build it yourself. So we decided that's what we're going to do. We're going to start a gym, and we're going to focus on strongman and powerlifting. And that's what we did.
Very cool. Very cool. How has fitness played a role in your life, Ed?
it dictates my life. It just doesn't play a role in my life.
I like it. It dictates it.
Um, I started training with weights when I was about 15 years old. Needed to put on some muscle so I could make a football team in high school. And it never went away. It never went away. I've been doing this forever.
Yeah. How would you say your fitness has kind of evolved through the years?
Good question. When I first started, it was primarily strength and agility. Then in my 20s, I spent more time on bodybuilding, hypertrophy, more plates, more dates, all that good stuff. And I just stayed the course. And then that evolved into strength training. And that's been my focus.
So let's talk about that training a little bit for a minute. Like you said, started out, you're doing a lot of bodybuilding type work and then kind of transitioning more into that strength. How did your day-to-day training kind of differ from one to the other when you were going from bodybuilding into more strength?
Well, the weights got a lot heavier. The reps got a lot less. And you start thinking as far as more performance goes. You're really, everything's focusing on one rep max. But still, even with a strength training, there's never a downside to having muscle.
Yeah.
Any strength athlete will spend time with doing hypertrophy work. There's no weakness to building muscle in any strength sport. And then the funny thing is, when you don't focus on something so much and it's not your obsession, I actually put on muscle when I was strength training that I wasn't able to put on when I was actually trying to.
Right.
It's funny. And I guess at the end of the day, your form follows your function. And, if you are strong, you'll appear to be strong as well.
Yeah.
Okay? So, except for some exceptions. I mean, there's some real skinny rails out there who are strong as hell. But they're the outliers.
There certainly are. Yeah. So, your family's very involved also in fitness and the gym. Can you talk to us a little bit, about your wife and her involvement and your girls and kind of what that looks like for you all as a family?
Sure. My wife trains at our gym. She helps manage. She helps clean up. She's like the gym mom, if you will. My youngest daughter, actually, she started our Instagram page, and she's the one that originally reached out to you guys when she was doing her senior project in high school about veterans' lives in Maryland and how we can make them better. Casey, the little one, is an avid fitness athlete. From age 12 to 17, she acquired 8 Maryland State powerlifting records.
Oh my gosh.
Along with in 2017, Maryland's strongest teen female.
Oh, that is so cool.
And she was able to parlay all that into it's a full ride anyway when you go to a service academy, but she plays D1 lacrosse for the United States Naval Academy. And that's awesome for all of us. My other daughter, Lindsay, who's just been in the fitness her whole life as well. She was more into the cardio end of it. And end of last year, I suggested that she really should take a try at strength training. And she's been hooked ever since.
So cool.
Yep.
That's so cool. I love it that, it's a complete family affair for you guys.
Absolutely.
And that's something, that I certainly admire, looking at families like that can keep it, everybody's involved in it. Ed, what advice, do you have, or what can you tell parents out there, that are looking to get, their children or their families involved in more of, whatever their fitness lifestyle may be?
Expose them to it. Can't force them. Expose them. And it doesn't matter what they're doing. It doesn't matter if they want to do gymnastics. It doesn't matter if they want to power lift. It doesn't. Just find what they can be passionate about, because that's the only way they're going to stick with it. There is no wrong way for physical activity. Just get them involved. Get them involved in team sports. Get them involved in individual sports. Just keep going till you find something that they're passionate about. That you don't have to remind them about practice. That you don't have to remind them about getting ready for practice or doing stuff on their own. They should be passionate about it. And if you find that, then the passion you'll guide them and last them a lifetime.
Yeah. So Ed, I want to talk to you some about strongman, and strongman is so popular, with myself and many of our veterans. How did you end up actually getting into strongman, or what drew you to it?
Well, a friend of mine who I was doing more powerlifting with suggested we do a strongman competition because there was no weight classes for novice. And he said, look, we can go in there and we might be able to clean up. So that's where I fell into. I've always watched like the World's Strongest Man and some of those strength athletes when I was a kid, like Bill Kazmaier, Maurice Pujanowski, just all those guys. They were so impressive. And the feats of strength, you'd see them perform. It just wasn't weights. These guys were running around with football teams on their backs and things like that, refrigerators and throwing cars or whatever. So definitely, it's enticing. So a friend suggested it, and I said, "What the hell? Let's start training for it." And that's what we did.
Nice. So, what does strongman training entail? Like, if someone's listening and they're like, "I want to get into strongman," what type of training is involved to be a strongman or strong woman?
Well, strongman, you have 4 categories, and what is it? It's push, pull, carry, and load. Okay. So the push is generally an overhead press, and that can either be a barbell, an axle bar, a log, a circus dumbbell, you name it. The pull is generally a deadlift, a car deadlift. The carry, that's going to be farmer's implements, a stone. No, I'm sorry, not a stone, but it will be a sandbag you can carry. You can carry a keg. You can press a keg. And load, which is generally a stone or a keg. So that's what those are pretty much the 4 categories. And for someone wanting to start out in that, you need to find a gym that has those implements. You can get by with some dumbbells and barbells and maybe a sandbag, but generally it's in your best interest to find a gym that caters to strongman training and get with them and get some guidance as well. Yeah. Very easy to injure yourself on the front end if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. For folks at home that, have, home equipment or purchase equipment, and they're looking to purchase a couple strongman implements, what type of equipment or what implements would you recommend a person could get? If they could only get 2 or 3 implements, what's kind of their most bang for their buck that they can train with?
Well, a yoke is great. Because there's a lot of things you can do with a yoke. You can do the carry, you can do the press with it, you can do a actual walking press with it, and it also serves as a squat rack as well. Sandbags are cheap when they're available, of course, but sandbags are great. And I'm assuming they already have a barbell and weight, so you can overhead press with the barbell, and you can get a lot done with that. As far as anything else. Again, now we're talking specialty equipment, whether it be a log or a circus dumbbell. But biggest bang for a buck, I would say would be a yoke.
Okay. And definitely, I completely agree with you. Strongman, get some direction. Get in a gym or with people that have done it, that know what's going on. If that's just not an option, and you are in a commercial gym, and so let's say there's no implements at all available, what should a veteran look at to kind of make up the bulk of their strength program? What should they be doing in the gym just to get strong?
Well, if you want to get strong, the first thing you do is start squatting. And then you need the deadlift. Okay. And even though the bench press isn't contested in strongman, you should definitely do a bench press anyway, just so you're balancing out your shoulders with the overhead pressing you're going to be doing. No strongman implements. Well, you can farmer carry dumbbells. Okay, that's easy to do. If you have to do a yoke carry, you can put a barbell on your back and you can walk with that. Okay. It's going to be a lot harder because the one benefit of a yoke is very low center of gravity. You don't do a whole lot of teeter tottering with it. You're going to be walking around the gym with a barbell on your back. Make sure you have room to do so. Stay very tight while you're doing it. What else? As far as loading, I've seen these little implements where you can kind of tie together 45s.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Yes.
Okay, and do that, and then you can use that for stone lifts. Okay, as far as regular overhead pressing, use a barbell, use a dumbbell. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not that hard to do. Okay,
Yeah.
again, it's where there's a will, there's a way. So,
Oh, totally. Totally. What advice do you have to any veterans or anybody listening that's, thinking about pursuing strongman, or maybe they're a novice at it? What advice do you have for them?
do it. That's it.
I like it. Do it. It's fun. I agree. Do it.
Do it.
Totally.
But make sure. Look, there's a ton of information out on YouTube. I'll mention one. Alan Thrall. And,
Yeah, I was going to say, who do you recommend for people to kind of follow, on YouTube, or what are some good resources like that?
Thrall at Untamed Strength. He's a Marine veteran and he's a strongman competitor. He has a wealth of knowledge out there as far as barbell training, strongman. Brian Allsrew at Never Sate Athletics. He's another one that I would highly recommend. Very knowledgeable, and again, a ton of information they have, and just watch it and put it to use.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ed, we want to thank you for, first of all, so last year, last fall, we had the opportunity to bring a group of our veterans to your gym in Maryland, and we got to do strongman for a day. And it was definitely one of my highlights of the year. It was just an incredible day, so thank you for having us, for hosting us that day. How did you, and I know you mentioned, your daughter, can you kind of talk to us about how you first learned about Catch a Lift, and what that was like, kind of getting involved with the organization?
Well, I knew of Chris. We're about the same age, and we actually had some mutual friends, one of which was one of my daughter's lacrosse coach. And
Wow.
heard about the whole Catch a Lift program a while ago, but it didn't really resonate at the time. It was just this thing that they were doing and whatever. So anyway, long story short, Casey, my little one, for her senior project, again, she was doing her class project was ways we can better the lives of veterans in Maryland. And one of the things she did was she reached out to Catch a Lift Fund. And she wanted to host a Coughlin challenge or something at our gym, but it just time frame wouldn't permit, and she was getting ready to go off to plebe summer, and so she really had no summer to do it. And anyway, so that really didn't come into fruition at the time. However, it was my understanding that you guys you're having your Warrior Weekend last September, and the gym you were supposed to be using kind of the rug came out from under you, and you needed a place. And I think it was Lynn that remembered Casey, said, "Hey, let's reach out to these guys." And you're actually contacting Casey when she was still going through plebe summer, so she had phone. And anyway, long story, I think it was just by dumb luck. I was checking the Instagram messages or something, and anyway, we connected. And Lynn asked if I would be willing to open my gym to you guys. I was like, absolutely. Just say when.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that the other owners at Gladiator, and some of the members that were there, we got a lot out of this thing. We really did. It was so much fun and inspiring, to see some of these adaptive athletes take on the challenge of strongman.
All of the challenges, all of them. It was incredible.
And there was no quit in the room. These guys were going all out, and it was great. We had a blast. So we were talking about the takeaway from that was, you have no excuse. You have no excuse.
Yeah, that day, that day, I mean, it was just a picture of you have no excuse. It was absolutely incredible. And Ed, you said it, there was no quit. There was no, I can't do this that day. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. What can you talk to us a little bit about, coming away from that experience? What type of relationships were you able to cultivate as a result of that weekend?
A bunch of those athletes I connected with and remained in contact with this past year. It's just made some really good friendships. I mean, and these guys, I'm just proud to have them as friends.
Yeah. What does it mean for you to have a gym, this gym, this place where you can go and you can connect with other veterans? What does that mean to you to have?
It means everything. I mean, what's not to like? Just being able to have a positive impact on anyone's life, let alone a veteran at that point. But yes, it's great, and we have a bunch of veterans who train at my gym too, mostly Marines, which is a good thing. But nothing against the other, but it's fun. It's fun because as you know, the sadistic, dark sense of humor that most people don't get, you're able to just full
Oh,
display.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, totally. Totally.
Yeah, well, the guys can let their hair down.
Yeah. Yeah. So where's your training kind of at right now, Ed? 2020 has been, obviously a heck of a year for everybody. Everything's kind of turned upside down. What's your training like right now?
Uh, Mostly powerlifting, and right now I'm in between injuries, so that's a good
Ah,
thing. um, that's the whole thing. As the athlete ages, it's all about recovery, and that's the hardest part for me right now. Is just making sure I stay healthy. Trying to leave one rep in the tank and not
yeah.
doing absolute maximum effort on all the top sets. Just you know, save it for the next day. You
Yeah.
know,
Can you talk to us a little bit about recovery? Because, especially in the context, of strength sports, powerlifting, strongman. Could you even maybe explain to people listening that might not understand? I mean, what is recovery and why is it important?
well, there's two types of recovery. There's CNS and muscle or connective tissue recovery. Um, the CNS is a biggie, and what you want to do, no matter what your program is you have to have either low intensity days or a complete, like say, like a deload week.
Right.
And the whole premise is your body needs the rest. Culmination of weeks and weeks of training, eventually something's going to snap, or you're just going to hit a wall. And the whole premise is you need to take off so you don't have to take off. You deload so you don't have to deload. Because if you feel you need it, it's already too late. And generally, that's when then CNS breakdown starts. So my recommendation is, you're going to have your heavy weeks, your mid weeks, and your lighter weeks, but you should also have a week where it's active rest. And for me, my deload consists of pretty much training at 50% of my normal
Okay.
load for the week. So the benefit for that is if I take off completely for a week and then come back, I'm sore as hell from taking off. But
Oh,
if you
yeah.
split the difference and just keep the weights at about 50% of max, you still get to train the muscle. But the biggie is you get two things. You get a CNS break because you're not doing any maximum effort work. And also you get a mental break.
Yeah.
Um, if you're training for strength and you have a heavy day or a heavy week, that stuff is in the back of your head all day long.
Yes, it is.
You know what's coming at you when you come to the gym that day, and sometimes it's a mental weight, and having
It
that one.
is. It is.
It is.
Yes.
So having that 1 week or specified couple of days where it's not intense, it's an easy week. It's a mental break, it's a physical break. And all those nagging injuries, your wrist, your elbow, all this stupid stuff that just doesn't stop you from training, but you're grimacing.
It's there. Yeah.
But you take that light week and it gives it a chance to rest, and then you can come back primed and ready to go again. So
Yeah.
yeah, the big thing is for recovery, deload. Also any type of lifting that doesn't have a eccentric pattern to it.
Okay.
Sled pushes. Okay, because all the pain, all the suffering, all the DOMS comes from the eccentric part of a lift. So like what I tend to do is after a heavy lower body session, I'll do some sled pushes either
Okay.
after or the next day. And what that helps to do is it flushes lactic acid out of the muscle, and it helps with recovery because all you're doing is you're contracting and not stretching out the muscle. So that's a good thing as well.
That is. Let's talk about, rest or active rest a little bit as it would relate to just, a typical training week. Um, you know, what do you recommend for people as far as like, and obviously it depends on the person, but, a strength athlete that we're talking about, how many like rest days should they have in a week or kind of active rest recovery days?
For a generally healthy person with no real pre-existing issues, there's no reason why you can't train 4 days a week. I like to go like Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then take Saturday, Sunday off. Splits it up
Okay.
where you have an upper body day, a lower body day, a day off, upper body, lower body day, and then 1 or 2 days off. Um, I usually go 5 days a week. And that
Okay.
fifth day is just a very light day where I work on just some weak points or something I want to address, but very low intensity. Um, no giant compound lifts on
Yeah.
that. Keep it simple and like limit it to an hour. I may go and do some calf work or some
Hmm.
isolated arm work, but it's always light. So we're not doing anything to the elbows or overtraining.
Right.
Again, it's almost like a deload on Saturday, but you're just picking some weak points that you want to address. But
Okay.
four week is fine, and 2 to 3 days of rest is adequate.
Okay.
But
Um,
with the fourth week, you should for at least every month or two take a deload week,
take a
and
deep
that's when
one.
you're at half of the load and half of the intensity.
Okay. Let's talk about cardio for strength athletes. Um, what's cardio look like for a strength athlete, Ed, or what do you recommend for people to be cardiovascularly healthy and be able to get out there? Because again, strongman, it's not that one rep max. We're out there, and it's a lot of times 60 seconds of go.
Sure.
How do you get conditioned for that?
Well, the lifts themselves will do a lot for you. Um, you really don't need to do a whole lot of cardio specific if your programming is good.
Okay.
Okay, but outside of that, again, we're not gerbils on a week. Okay,
Yeah.
We're weightlifters, we're strongmen, we're power lifters, and if we're going to do cardio, it's got to have some sort of intensity to it. And so sled pushes are great, sled drags are great, lighter farmer carries, lighter yoke carries, anything that involves weight and you're moving it from A to B on your feet is fantastic cardio. And if you follow anything as far as physiology and science and health, that long LSD, long slow distance, is not the best thing for you. And like sled pushes are fantastic as far as high intensity interval training goes. I mean, what do you want to do? You want to get your heart rate up, get it cranking, let it recover, and then do it again 5 to 10 times. It's getting it up for at a high period and leaving it there is my understanding is not that good for you.
Yeah. I want to touch on nutrition around training a little bit with you, Ed. How do you as a strength athlete, how do you approach, your nutrition kind of post workout? How do you kind of handle that?
Well, I eat good all day long. Okay. Obviously, you want to get in the right amount of protein, you want to get in the right amount of fat, you want to get the right amount of carbs, and good macros. Yeah, just for starting is I guess a third between your protein, your fat, and your carbs. You can fine tune that as once you really see how your body reacts to it. I don't count the quantity so much. I burn a lot of calories while I'm training. So if anything, I'm trying to keep weight.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's just me. It's never been a problem for me. As far as recovery goes, at the end of the workout, I'll do a protein shake. It's chock full of amino acids, branched chain amino acids, and protein. But anything, moderation, as far as you don't want, again, you don't want to be on a 10,000 a day calorie diet.
Yeah.
If you're looking to trim up a little bit, okay. If you're looking to pack on some meat, then eat as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to ask you too a little bit, Ed. Like I said, we've got a lot of athletes that are very into strongman. A lot of them are competitive strongmen too, or looking to become. Can you talk to us a little bit? For even people that they might be novice competitors or just getting in first competition, first couple, how do you approach your actual competitions? Like competition day comes, how do you handle kind of just the nerves and stuff that goes along with it?
Just relax, okay. Again, you've already done the training, okay. You've already tested yourself. You should have already had a good deload week that week.
Yeah.
You don't want to be maxing out 2 days before competition. So you've done everything you already need to do. So at that point, you just need to relax and enjoy the process. If you've never been to a strongman competition, you're going to make a lot of friends. Okay.
Yes.
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
And it's been my experience that it's one of the most welcoming communities out there. You go to a strongman event, you compete, you're going to walk away with 30 names of people, and you'll be in chat groups, and they'll be reaching out to you, and you go work out with one of these guys, and they'll be showing you everything they know, and it's a very close knit community.
It is.
And very, very welcoming, because the training's intense. And they're like, well, look, if this guy's crazy enough to do this, we bring him in, because we don't get
Totally.
like this that often. So he might be a keeper.
Yeah, no, that's true, and I agree 100%. Some of the greatest people that I've met the last couple years has been at strongman shows, and incredibly welcoming and inviting, and especially to new athletes. I've never been made to feel like I didn't belong there. It's a tremendous sport with tremendous people.
Sure.
So I've got one last question here for you, Ed. I want to ask you what it's kind of meant, we consider you a part of the Catch a Lift family now. You've been an avid supporter for us, and so many of our veterans you've supported. What does it kind of mean to you to be a part of this Catch a Lift tribe?
You had to ask that completely. It means a lot to me. It really does. It makes owning a gym so much more worthwhile when I can actually give back to the veteran community that participates in this kind of stuff. It really does. It makes it all worth the while. That's the short answer.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Ed. That's it for this week's episode of Coach's Corner. We will return next Wednesday at 1:00 Eastern with another episode. Thank you so much, Ed, for sharing with us, for sharing your light and your time, for opening up your gym to our veterans, and your constant support to so many of us. We truly, truly appreciate you and your entire family. Thank you so much. We want to thank ID Technology for your continued support of the Catch a Lift Coach's Corner, the Catch a Lift website, Catch a Lift Landing Zone. Thank you to Lynn Coughlin, Henry Pomper, Kaylee Nasiri for your continued support of this podcast, and the entire KL team for making this possible. If there are any veteran members that are listening that would like to jump on for a few minutes and talk with Ed and myself, leave your name in the comment box and we'll get you guys a link to jump on with us. And until next week, keep it real and stay KL strong.